Good morning, Lewis County High School. You are now on Blackboard. And just a note about the Blackboard course, I have copied the course from last year, so if you see any dates that say 2016, ignore those and I will edit those as soon as possible. I'm trying to work through your course and get all those things updated and get everything available for you. So far on that course, you should simply see our course syllabus in course documents, and then in assignments you have the concussion letter revision, because I've communicated with a few of you about revising those concussion letters again, and so I have created that assignment for those of you that need to submit that concussion letter revision. And then you have an MLA quiz as seen on the syllabus, and a current event again, which is on the syllabus, current event number 1. Today the tutorial is dedicated to MLA, and so notice on the screen I'm using a Word document that I've also made available for you on my blog, so that you can refer back to this and you don't necessarily have to take notes while you're watching this tutorial, and you have those notes for your purposes in citing, as well as when you take that quiz. In no way, shape, or form would the quizzes be closed book. You don't have to memorize any of this information because you have an MLA handbook, you have the internet. It's just vital that you know how to format and cite your papers. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you need to know is some core elements of the works cited page. We're really going to work backwards today, because the last page of any essay that you turn in is your works cited page. So we're starting there, and I'll tell you why. Because the works cited page is where all of your sources are found, and those sources must also be located in your essay. So let's talk about how you are going to cite sources on your works cited page. 8th edition is really awesome because they've really streamlined all of the sources and the citations into one simple formula, whereas before you cited different things in different ways. Now granted, there are many exceptions, interviews, videos, etc. But things that you read, articles, books, are all cited in the same way. So it's really great. You always begin with the author's name, last name, comma, first name, period, the title of the work, whether it be an article title, or a journal article, or even the book itself. The title of the container. The container is simply where that source is found. So if it is a title of an article that you read in the New York Times, then the title of that article is here. The New York Times is here. Notice that the title of the container is italicized. The version, if there is one, the number, if there is one. There is always a publisher. There is always a publication date. In fact, if there is not a publication date or an edited date, you cannot use that source. And finally, the location, which is always web or print. I have given you an example, and I made this up. If I was citing an article by Kayla Stafford, Why I Really Love Teaching English, it would look something like this. Last name, comma, first name, period. The title of the article, notice that that title's in quotation marks because it is an article. The title of the container, it was published in the New York Times, comma, it is the first version, it is number 1. The date of publication was August 17, 2017, period, and then it was in print. And actually, after 17 should be a comma. Notice publication date, comma, location, period. Now, If the location is on the web, include the URL. For example, same exact article, but I found the web version. So notice my location is web, and after the period, I include that URL. That will also make it easier for you to go back and find that source. Finally, that citation ends with a period. The works cited page is always alphabetized by the author's last name. If you have 3 sources, alphabetize them by the author's last name. If you have 2 sources, alphabetical order. If you have 10 sources, alphabetical order by author's last name. If there is not an author, alphabetize that work by the title of that work so that the works cited page is still in alphabetical order. It's just that you didn't have an author, so you use the title. The works cited page is double-spaced, hanging indent. Now, this is the only page of your essay that has a hanging indent. And to find the hanging indent, simply go to Paragraph, go to Line Spacing Options. Hanging is special. So you come here and drag this down. It should be on None, and you change it to Hanging. Line spacing, MLA format, it's always double. And hit OK. And you have hung the indent. Double-spaced hanging indent, works cited page only. The title of the works cited page is simply Works Cited. In the center, no bold, no underline, nothing changes. It's still Times New Roman, it's still font size 12. It's just that it's the last page of your essay and it is entitled Works Cited. All works cited on the works cited page must also be cited within the text. I cannot tell you that enough. If you cited it on your works cited page, you should have in-text citations that correlate with that works cited page. Otherwise, why do you have it on the works cited page if you didn't cite that work within your text? Which brings us to in-text citations. All works cited on the works cited page must be cited within the text. How do you cite within the text? Author's last name, page number. For example, Johnson 7. This means that Johnson wrote my paper, that's his last name, and I found this information on page 7. Notice that there are no commas, no PG period, no PP period, no nothing. It is simply the author's last name and the page number. Also notice that the period is outside of the parentheses because the citation is a part of the sentence itself. If there is no author, you cite the text using the title of the work within the text. So for example, the title of my work is The Biography of Moses, and I found the information on page 7. Again, notice there is no comma. There are quotation marks around the title because it is a title. If it is a title of a book, then I would italicize that title. If there are no page numbers, when you quote from electronic sources that do not provide page numbers, like on the internet, you just cite the author's name only. For example, this is the quotation that I pulled from the internet article, and this is the author. Notice again, quotation marks around the quote, the author's last name, period on the outside, because again, the citation is a part of the sentence. So the period moves from here to here. The in-text citation is a part of the sentence. Thus, the punctuation follows the citation. You must cite direct quotes, paraphrases, examples, quotes within quotes, or any other information that you gain from a source. You may not copy and paste information found on the internet. You may quote information from credible sources that you found on the internet. These two things are different. These two things are different. It is plagiarism if you find something on the internet and you copy and paste it to your paper, especially if you do not cite that source. Paraphrasing. When you write information or ideas from a source in your own words, cite the source by adding an in-text citation at the end of the paraphrase portion. For example, here is the information that I've paraphrased, and here's the citation. Notice there's no quotation marks because I put this in my own words. Now, it's possible that you might paraphrase from multiple pages. If you read an article that is 5 pages long and you put all that information that you learned in that article into your own words, for example, the summary that you're going to write for your current events, you might use multiple page numbers, whether it be pages 50 and 55, or maybe it's just 65 through 71. Maybe you cite the whole article. For example, if this article is pages 1 through 5 and I cite the whole article because I just paraphrase the information, I put it in my own words, then I can simply write the author's last name 1 through 5, as in pages 1 through 5. Of course, you would not do that with a direct quote, because a direct quote you've taken directly from the article. Also, in-text citations take the reader to the works cited page where you found the information, so that I can go to your works cited page and I can find Hunt, and I know that you used pages 1 through 5 of his article, and I can find that. So never should I find an in-text citation in your paper that I cannot find on your works cited page. Vice versa, I should never find something on your works cited page that I cannot find within your text. This is the end of MLA Crash Course Part 1.